Hello everyone, this is Alex, and this is going to be my project for our latest module, Module 4. Um, as you can see, this is my final product for the magazine cover for the skateboard issue that would be first. I started out with this picture, actually, the skateboard cover that I just found off the internet, and I had to do a resize to get it to where it was here. So the first thing I did was image adjustments, or sorry, image size, and then I unchecked the resampled and did the height first at a 10.75 and hit OK. And then I did an image canvas size to match it to what the width was going to be. And I clicked on this middle left guy and did the 8.25 and hit OK. And it gave me this little warning and told me about the clipping, and I just proceeded with that. So I have my image the size I want for the magazine. Then all I really had to do at this point was take my move tool and move it over and place it into the size that I wanted. And it was at this point that I added these grid lines here through the view in the new guide layout which came this out, and I accept those, and it gave me this grid, so I had exactly what I was going to be looking at for the magazine. The next thing I did was I created this rectangle block here, and I did that with the rectangle tool, and I just clicked and dragged that there and changed the fill and stroke to be both black, because the idea was that I was going to house my title type here. To then get this text here, I went to the text button to the vertical type tool and then clicked in here and started typing my Adreno Junkies title for the magazine. I played around with the fonts a little bit, and I thought this was very legible and looked really nice. The text wasn't exactly in the middle, so I just used the move tool and had the layer selected to move that to exactly where I wanted it. The next thing I wanted to do was make some custom shapes to house where my story headlines were going to be. So I just went over here to this, the rectangle tool, and right-clicked and came down to the custom shape, and then came up here and hit the drop down, and I selected this guy here, this banner 4, and gave it the black stroke line with no fill, and just kind of drug that out there to put where I was going to have my next story. Then for the type here, I went here and did the horizontal type tool, clicked in there, and typed out my story headline there. The next thing I wanted to try to do was get my text to follow this rail, and this was in one of the little lessons that we had for the module. And to do that, I actually created a path with the pen tool and just clicked and made the path here and placed it. And then to get the text to follow that, again, I went to this horizontal type tool, and when you hover over it, it changes the symbol a little bit. You can click on that, and then as you type, it'll follow the path you created. So that's how I made this, what makes the perfect rail along the rail. The color choice I'm not absolutely in love with, but I was having a hard time figuring out what color to use to get it to pop. So, I mean, you guys could be the judge here. I had the red, there's the black, which I didn't think was that much better. I tried yellow, which looked kind of weird, so I just left it at red, and hopefully that was something as I went to meet about the cover, we could change if they decided to do that. So for my last story, I decided, I was like, I'm going to do something with this guy, make it look like he's talking. And I did that by, again, using the custom shape. And here in the drop downs, you have this extra little gear thing here, and came down to talk bubbles. And I just hit OK to add that new list. And I chose the talk bubble and drug that out, and then used the horizontal type tool to click in there and write out this last story for him, saying it as he was doing his grind down the rail. And then finally, for like my kind of issue information, I just did a simple rectangle here, drug it out with a black stroke, no fill, and then again the horizontal type tool to do the volume 1 issue 1, March 2019. And then so for the next cover, which was going to be on the windsurfing, this is my final product here for the magazine. I started out with these two photos, and originally I was just going to use this one, but the sky, the background was just so bland, and I was trying to cut and get a different sky in there, and the light looked weird and it looked fake, so I actually decided to overlay these guys, and I'll show you how I did that in just a second. So I first, since I was decided to use, this picture, I took it and laid it on here, then drug this windsurfer layer unlocked over to it, and came down here and had these different names. And I actually, what I did was use this windsurfer layer on top, and this just changed the opacity here. Back and forth. I could make it as bright as I want. I could overlay it, but I settled on about 48, which I thought looked really nice. To get my Arduino Junkies title and square back, I actually came to my skateboard cover, and I had linked this, where's it at here? The title and rectangle together, so that way I could just grab those two layers and drag it over here and just fit it, so it fit perfect and they were the exact same size, so that way there wouldn't be a differentiation between the issues of the magazine. So for my stories in this magazine, again, I did the following the path text by creating my first path with the pen tool up here, and I just kind of drew an outline on this windsurfing, and then used the horizontal type text tool to type along that, and that was the title for my first story. And then for this story, I actually ended up using this curvature pen tool, and let's see here. For that, I actually followed this line in the water here and made that for this windsurf story on this fake windsurfer that I created. I ran out of room here, so I decided to make another. I copied the path that this one was along and drug it below here, and then made that to follow that exact same curve, because I didn't want them to be off a little bit. I wanted to try to make it as uniform as I possibly could. Then for this last story here, I did another custom shape tool. Came down to this drop down, and this is still up from my skateboard one, but in the original list, this flags here, drug that out with the red fill and stroke, and then did the horizontal type tool, placed it in there, and typed out what my story was going to be. And to get this warped effect for the text, you could actually come over here and do the text here and right click this layer, and there's the warp text, and you could bend it however you saw fit and mess with the horizontal distortion and vertical distortion, but came up with that to get that warp. I wanted to follow that flag as best I could. And then finally, for this box up here, I actually again went to my skateboard cover and took this placeholder text info here, and these two were linked as well. And I just clicked those and drug them over here to this project, and then just kind of edited the text to reflect the next issue and what month it would be coming out. So I hope that was informational, and hope you enjoy it. And if you guys have any tips, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.